Hey everybody, today I am going to show you how I wash grease. It is old grease that I have drained off of hamburgers and sausage patties, bacon, pork chops, anything that we make that is greasy. We do not pour the grease down the drain. We put it in these cans and we save it. We put it in these number 10 cans, and then when it gets full, I just cover it and I mark it so that I know if it's dirty or clean. And I'll either store it in the freezer until I'm ready to wash the grease, or I'll just cover it and put it in a cabinet or set it off in a dark corner somewhere where it won't be disturbed. And then when I have time, or I'm ready to make soap, I will wash the grease. And that's the process that I'm going to show you how to do today. So here you can see I have a big stainless steel soup pot. If you have a lot of grease to do, you'll either need to do it in a couple of different batches, or I recommend getting a really big pot. And it's super easy. You're just going to take your grease, which if you kept it in the freezer, I would set it out the day before and let it thaw so it's pourable and workable. You want it to come out of the can. So we're going to take this grease and we're going to pour it in this stock pot, and then we're going to add a lot of water to it and turn it on to let it boil. So as you can kind of see, it's nasty. It's gross and it does kind of smell. It smells like old grease. And I just take a wooden spoon or a spatula of some type and I scrape all that out. I do wear an apron or wear some old yucky clothes because it can get you quite messy and it can ruin a good shirt. And you can see that all these yucky burnt pieces of meat or seasonings or whatever is in there. Looks pretty gross, but that's the reason why we wash this. I'm just going to use it for making homemade soap. So this process eliminates those. It gets the seasoning and the chunks of stuff out, and you're just left with clean, usable grease. So there's a couple of things that you can do to make this process a little bit easier. If you happen to put your grease in a big tin can like I do, sometimes it doesn't want to come out real easy, and that's okay. You can put it on your stovetop or in your oven and heat it up just a little bit, but be careful, the can does get quite hot, and you'll want to use protective gloves. If you happen to store it in a plastic container, you could always pop it into the microwave. You just want to heat it up just enough to get it out of your can. So you get it in your pan, and then we're going to fill the pan probably an inch or so, I would say, from the top with water. Just plain old, straight from the faucet water. Hot or cold, it does not matter. We're going to turn this on and get it boiling. I'm just going to rinse this off because I really don't like grease going down my sink. If you've ever had it plugged up, especially over a holiday, vacation, you know it can be a pain in the rear and also be quite expensive to have somebody come out and fix it. So here's my grease in my pan. I filled it the rest of the way with water. I'm going to turn it on the oven or on the stove top, and I'm going to let it boil. And I boil it pretty good. You don't want it to boil over. It will cause a fire. You just want it to roll and bubble a little bit. And that helps bounce the junk out of your grease. And the particles are going to sink to the bottom. And the grease is going to float to the top. And you'll want to do this process 2 times, 3 times. I never have done it any more than 3 times. I'm just using it for lye soap. So I just do it 2 or 3 times until I get most or all of the bits out. So you can see the flame is on, and when that starts to boil, I'll probably turn it down a little bit. And I set my timer for about 15-20 minutes. And then you're simply going to either put this in the fridge and let it get cold, or you can set it outside if it's nice and cool outside. What you want to happen is all of the junk to sink to the bottom of your pot, and then all of your clean grease is going to float on top of the water. So the water is going to be your barrier. If you put this in the fridge, the grease will get really good and hard, and it makes it really easy to take a big, I just use like a big slotted spoon, and I scrape all of that grease off of the top of the water, and I put it into another stock pot like this one, and I do the same process over again. I drain all of the junk out of the bottom. I just pitch it out in the yard, and the water goes along with it. And then, so you do this 2 times. You can do it more if you want super ultra fine clean grease. But anyway, it's really just that simple. And then what you're left with is the clean grease that you can put back into your number 10 can if you want, until you're ready for making soap. And I have not looked at the recipe in a year or so, but I believe it calls for 9 cups of lard or grease. So that's probably close to a number 10 can full. And that will get you a big batch of homemade lye soap.